Good afternoon to the citizens of St. Bernard Parish. Today is Friday, July 17th, and another week has gone by here in St. Bernard Parish during this COVID-19 saga. We will start off with our personal prayer for those who have died during this COVID-19, for their family members, and for our community, because there's a lot of anxiety as we go through this global pandemic. Thank you. All right, so as I come to you today to give you an update, our numbers are increasing exponentially, right? So tomorrow, we kind of get the numbers a day in advance, and we're averaging in the last couple of days over 16, and today I got a list of 20. I think that shows up tomorrow. And there's been a lot of talk about numbers and where they're coming from and how they're calculating them and all that good stuff. The numbers are what they are, right? So, and they're increasing. We see this second peak in the positive tests. A lot of it's due to a lot of the testing that's going on around our state and around our country. But, we're seeing now people that we're related to. We're seeing people in our workplace that are testing positive. The good thing is the death rates are going down, the hospitalizations are continuing to go down, and people aren't as sick as they were before in that first peak. We learned how to treat this a whole lot better than what we were in the beginning. And the ventilators being used, which was a big thing in the beginning, we're not seeing the ventilator rate is lower than the death rate as far as declining. So there's a lot of positive to see in these numbers. There's a lot of anxiety when you see the positive tests going up. But we need to reassure ourselves that as we go through this, things are getting better, right? What's not getting better is the positive test, but a lot of people aren't getting sick. So what our leaders are looking at, from Washington to Baton Rouge to the region, is that if we can stop this spread, we can get rid of COVID-19. When we all look at this, we know a lot of people are going to get COVID-19. They're going to test positive. And we just want to make sure that the hospitalizations and the deaths don't happen all at once. I don't see that happening here in the near future, right? But why it's so important that we try to slow the spread of this disease is so that don't happen. That's why you're seeing these restrictions in our region and in our state, because the numbers are so high, the risk goes up. Whether it's 0.5% to 1%, that would be doubling, right? The death rate is what I'm talking about right now, right? So there's a concern, and we all have to be on the same team. And when I say that, there's a lot of talk and a lot of criticisms and a lot of political debates about wearing masks, not wearing masks, what the numbers are, what the true numbers are, and people digging down in that. This is a worldwide pandemic, so there are going to be mistakes, right? I was at my grandson's ball tournament, a baseball tournament this weekend, and criticized for coming on and talking about the governor's new restrictions, that I was out and about. Well, no one's asking you not to be out and about. They're asking you, when you're out and about in the community, that we're responsible, that we take care of ourselves, that we don't spread or we don't pick up any COVID-19, that if you're outdoors, that you socially distance yourself, right? If you're having lunch, to socially distance yourself. You can't wear your mask when you're having lunch, right? So, you get a lot of people talking about that when they see leaders meeting without mask on. Congressman Scalise was nice enough to come to St. Bernard Parish, and we were having lunch at a local restaurant, and they see us sitting there without our mask on. Well, that's the reason. So let's get out of this political debate about wearing masks, and let's talk about just respecting others. It's really simple. No one's going to come put you in jail. I heard that too. We're going to put you in jail if you're not wearing a mask where you're supposed to be wearing a mask. Nobody's going to come put you in jail. We want you to socially distance. We want you to be responsible, right? If you're outdoors and you're going to be in a situation where you cannot socially distance yourself, put a mask on or move away from the crowd. That's what I do. I sit in the outfield by myself, right? So I don't have to wear a mask. I don't like wearing these masks. I can't breathe. I got claustrophobia, right, when I wear them. But I have to wear them when I walk into an establishment and when I'm walking out, because you can come within 6 feet of someone. Stores always had the right to require certain things if you come to their business. Some restaurants you have to wear a coat. If you don't have a shirt on, if you don't have shoes on, they're not going to let you in that business. So right now, as we go through this global pandemic, stores may not let you in there if you're not wearing a mask. They're trying to protect their employees. They're trying to protect their customers. So please don't give them a hard time. They're just trying to do the right thing. Go to another store, right? So, these establishments have that right. No one's trying to take away your freedoms and your liberty because they want you to wear a mask when you come in their store. It's the right thing to do right now in certain situations, right? And we have to do this together, because if we don't, we're going to be doing this for a long time until we get a vaccine. And when we get a vaccine, it's going to be, it's going to be the same thing. We're still going to have deaths. People die of the flu every year. So that's still going to happen. And you're still going to have to be responsible. You get sick, can't go to work, not supposed to go to work, not supposed to go to school, right? So I'm asking the citizens of St. Bernard Parish to continue to do what we always do, is stand together in this global pandemic. We're a small community in a worldwide problem. We need to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. We don't get our freedoms from a governor or the President of the United States, right? That freedom doesn't come from that. They're giving us information so that we can protect our community. I think we need to listen to that information, continue to have the freedoms and the liberties that we have, and do the right thing. Wear a mask when you cannot socially distance yourself. If an establishment is asking you to put a mask on, wear the mask. Or don't go to that establishment. There's one that'll let you go in there without a mask, I'm sure, right? So, no one wants to put anybody in jail, right? So, I don't know, the freedoms we get from getting up and going to work every day, right? The freedom, that we get is to add to the community, not to wake up every day and to add to our community, not take away from our community, right? Taking care of your family, doing the right things, forgive and ask for forgiveness, right? Those are the type of things that we derive our freedom from and our liberties, right? So just think about that over the weekend as we go through this process. The governor's going to come back to us on July 24th with with what direction we're going to go, whether we're going to go to phase 3, whether we're going to continue to do what we're doing. Our numbers have to flatten out some kind of way between now and then. Testing in St. Bernard Parish is complete, if you will, as far as meeting our requirements for CDC and for CARES Act requirements to receive funding. So I don't think we're going to have the free testing here in St. Bernard Parish, at least in the near term. You can always go to your doctor. You can always go to the hospital if you have symptoms. And they continue to have some free testing in the region because they haven't met their quotas yet. So I just want our community to not engage ourselves in the political discussions that we see going on, that we all have opinions and we all have thought processes, especially about these masks and what people are asking us to do. I want you to think about the public health issue that we're dealing with. And what else should we do? We can't do nothing. And our leaders and the information they're giving us, they're just trying to protect our communities. So I wanted to make sure we tell the citizens of St. Bernard Parish that we're proud of everyone, of what we're doing. Let's think about the public health issue. Let's not talk about all of these other issues out there. And we still live in the freest country on earth. And we need to be thankful for that and move forward and respect others. It's pretty simple. Kindness and love of our neighbors will make you do the right thing if you can just put that in your heart. All right. So let's talk about the census. We're not going to talk about that we're still in 11th place. We're not going to talk about any percentages. I want to let you know that the census employees are going to be out and about in our communities. They actually started yesterday, and they're going to knock on every address that did not respond to the census. So if you respond to the census, you won't get a knock at your door. It's so important. Billions upon billions of dollars are allocated throughout our country based on these numbers, and we want to make sure we have as many as we can. Retail outlets, right? So we all talk about wanting to get, an anchor here in St. Bernard Parish from a large retailer, right? This census will get that retail outlet to look to St. Bernard Parish. And just to let you know, the number is 50,000. If we can get it to 50,000, that's when they start looking at your community, like Sears used to be here and that kind of stuff. So if Target's going to want to look at St. Bernard Parish, we got to get to that 50,000 mark. I think we're there. We just need to make sure everyone responds and we can talk about that. Schools are going to open this year. I feel very confident about that. Had some short discussions with our superintendent of schools, Ms. Voce, and my daughters are teachers and my wife's a supervising nurse with the school system. I'm going to be supportive of however they open up their schools and get our children back into the structured environment of education. So I just think that's so important that we shouldn't be talking about not opening schools. We shouldn't be talking about delaying schools, which may happen. I think we need to open schools yesterday and get our children back into that mode of learning, seeing their friends in our school environment. You look at some of the studies that's going on around our world, Germany, Switzerland, China, and France, I believe, has done some extensive studying of the transmission of COVID-19. 97%, what they found, of transmissions of COVID-19 was from adult to child and adult to adult. So there's a very, very small percentage of transmissions from child to child and child to adult. So we still have to worry about the adult to child, right? and how that affects our schools. But I just think having them in school is such a health issue for them, mentally, socially, nutritionally for a lot of our students. They have breakfast and lunch at home, and that's probably the two best meals of the day for them. And we need to think about that at our national and state level when we talk about opening schools. So I'm going to be supportive of opening schools. I'm not going to be so supportive if we decide not to open schools. So, and I feel very confident that our school board and our school board superintendent want to move in that direction. And I know they're moving in that direction. And I really appreciate everything that they're doing. On Monday, starting at 9 a.m. at Christian Fellowship Church, we will have a second harvest food distribution to our community, and they will begin at 9 a.m. and they won't stop until all of the food is given out. So I want to thank Reverend Ballard for offering his place of worship to do this distribution, and I think they're working on another one here in the near future, but I want to thank him for and all of his parishioners for all of the hard work they're doing to make this happen. It's much needed here in our community. The Corps and CPRA are beginning their scoping meetings for the EIS process for the diversion planned in Plaquemines Parish, which is going to negatively impact St. Bernard Parish. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that you can make comments for that. The last day to make a comment is I believe it's August 15th. I don't have it, August 16th, I'm sorry. I do have it written down. August 16th. You can send an email. You can write a comment out. We will make sure that your comment is included in the scoping EIS comment period to the Corps, which they're going to look at to decide what are they going to evaluate, whether or not they grant the permit or do not grant the permit for this diversion, of which we are, as a community, have very, very strong concerns about. Contact John Lane at 504-579-2173. If you want to make some comments, you can call him, give him your comments over the phone. He will document that and send that to the Corps. So that's it for all of our messages today. I want to leave you with, just remember we're part of a team. We all don't have to agree on everything, but we can all agree that we want to move in the same direction at the end of this COVID-19. Remember, if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to. If you're not in situations where an establishment is not requiring you to, and they can, or if you're outdoors in a place where you cannot socially distance. Whether or not it's constitutional or not really shouldn't matter, right? Just respect others. Know that there's a lot of people out there that don't want you in their 6-foot area without a mask, and respect that. It's that simple for me. And if we do that, we will be so much better off at the end of this COVID-19 than we were going in. So with that said, God bless each and every citizen of St. Bernard Parish.